Hello, everyone. Welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. We are a radio, TV, and a podcast station. We are the #1 internet talk network, going bold every day. Absolutely. And notice we've got a new lipstick. I say we're on newsstreamnetwork.com. That is the home of Going Bold and Going Solo and WGSN-DB. So we are on the Link to Expert show. I am your host, Cece Schatz. I'm the Joanne of relationship building, and I have my very good friend here, Joanne Weiland. Joanne, tell me a little bit about you.
I'm the founder of Link to Expert because I believe you should be able to find an expert when you need them, and you should be found as an expert if you choose to.
Absolutely. So, of course, you guys know the drill. If you need to reach us, all you have to do is goingboldmedia.com. We would love to hear from you. And I'm going to share with you right away our emails because we love to get messages from you. Mine is goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. Goingsolonetwork@gmail.com. I read all your emails personally and I answer them all myself. So I hope that you will continue to send me those great messages because I love them. It kind of makes my day. And then we have Joanne's. Joanne, you want to tell us yours?
Sure, Jay Weiland, Jweiland. Weiland is Weiland because you can fly. At Link to Expert, LINK2TO, expert, EXPERT.com.
Oh, that's great. Well, I tell you what, we have a great guest today. We don't want to waste any more time. We have a wonderful Connie Whitman with us. She is the CEO of Whitman Associates, and we are so pleased to have her. Joanne, can you do the introductions for us?
Sure. Connie and I have known each other for years. I feel like it was one of those instant connections when we met back in, I think, 2020, that we just knew that we just had to get to know each other more. Turns out we both are married to a Rob, different Robs. But yeah,
Rob, that'd be a whole nother show.
exactly.
How funny is that?
So, and just her energy is off the charts. I just love that about her. She's always excited about life, about helping people achieve their outrageous goals. And to me, that is so cool because of the fact that I feel like, unfortunately, most of us are taught that we're supposed to kind of like be like, if you, especially for girls, but boys too, just, pace yourself, don't go crazy. So when she does helps people reach their outrageous goals, I just love that because of the fact that I really feel like we're all here with gifts. We don't have all the gifts, but we each have a gift, so let's use it to the max and let's just live life out loud and have fun and do what we're here to do. So Connie, you had me at the first time that we got together. And I think it was we were working on a book together, and we can talk about that another time. But Bright Spots, we were both in that anthology book, and Kathy Davis, of course, introduced us. And that's what my life is all about, collaborating, working together, because to me, we can't do anything, that great unless we do it with others. And so, Connie, welcome to the show.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm honored to be here. Excited for the conversation.
It's great. I tell you what, I love our topic today, changing the sales game. We all kind of want to know about that. We want to know about sales. In today's world, it's like we don't, I often hear people say that, well, I don't want to be sold to, right? So tell us a little bit about your journey and how you started, really helping people through sales.
And you guys, sales is it's a tough word. When people hear it, they immediately think, Cece, what you said, I'm getting sold to. There's so many shows on TV, Wolf of Wall Street, Madoff, The Wizard, I think it was called The Wizard with De Niro. We're taught that sales equates to being ripped off. And unfortunately, that should be the furthest thing from the truth. So to answer your question, Cece, I started my journey 40 years ago in sales, and I didn't even know I was selling. I was actually teaching. I worked for a credit company, a car credit company. And leasing was a new thing back then, right? Everybody was retail. You bought your car. But leasing was really good 40 years ago for the small business owner. They could write off the whole interest rate. So anyway, these dealers, the car dealers, the gentlemen, the salesmen, they were all men back then. It is what it is, right? I'm dating myself. But I would call him and say, you sent through a retail deal. This guy owns a business. Come on, you got to put him in a lease. And well, we don't know how to do the calculation. I'm like, get out your calculator, because we didn't have computers back then. Get out your calculator. Remember calculator? Now we have them on our phone, right? So I said, pull out your calculator. I'm going to go through, write this down, etc. Well, fast forward, my department, this leasing department, grew from like 0 deals. We were getting in 50 to 100 deals a day because all of a sudden there was this shift. And here's the cool thing that happened. Two things. First of all, the dealers loved it, right? Because the dealerships themselves, the organization, they were making a lot of money now. The patron, the customer, the business owner were bringing their friends, because they were like, wait a minute, we could write off the whole thing and not just do the mileage, and we could get this new car. And it ended up net costing them less because of the write-offs. So they were bringing their friends to the dealer. So the salesman was ecstatic because they had, leads coming in, good leads coming in all the time from their buyers. So fast forward. So it was a great experience, right? Sales position came open within the organization I worked for. And all these men start calling me, you're going to apply. I swear to God, Cece and Joanne, this was my reaction. Why would I apply? I think because you're so good at sales. I'm like, I'm what? They're like, you're so good at sales. I said, I taught you what to do. They go, that's sales. Never dawned on me that I can help people through understanding and education, right? The benefit of, right? It's all about the benefit statement. All of that was intuitive for me. So that was kind of fascinating. So I'll fast forward to the end of the story. They wouldn't promote me because I was a girl. So my boss, though, who was amazing, he said to me, you've outgrown this company already. I was there maybe 2 or 3 years. You need to go get another job. You really do need to belong in sales. So he helped me. He was maybe 15, 20 years older than me. So I got my resume together. He allowed me to go on interviews, and I decided to go into financial sales. I was going for my MBA in the evening. I love money. I love talking and educating about being financially responsible as well. So to me, that was the perfect match, and I never looked back. So yeah. And then 22 years ago, I started my own business teaching people how to, and this is my tagline, ladies, you have to sell from love, care, and respect. And if you're not, you need to stop.
Yeah, I love that. Years ago, I went in, I was to a job interview, right? And the guy says to me, it was a recruitment company, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, are you a good salesman? I said, only if I love the product, only if I love it. I said, make me love to work here.
That's right.
And he looked at me like, oh my gosh. It's like I turned the tables on him, interviewing him, it's like, I'm not going to work there. If I'm working on commission only, I am not working at a place that I don't stand behind or love or whatever. It's got to be more than just a paycheck for me.
Yeah.
And we had a very good. He did hire me. We had a very good relationship, and I was their top salesperson. I made good money doing it. So yeah.
Awesome. So well, Cece, you said something really important there. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. The values had to be in alignment. And I think that's another thing. We get into sales because I'm going to make a lot of money at whatever the company is or the product is or the service that you're selling. If the value aren't in alignment, that's where the ick factor comes in. So I believe in what I do. I believe in helping people make more money without feeling icky. And the only way you can make more money is if you serve properly. So who's my client? How can I serve them at the highest level? You're going to make money, but you're also helping the client. So it should feel good. It should not feel like you're forcing that square peg in the round hole, if you will. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I know then and even now, I never feel like I'm selling because I always feel like I'm helping. I'm
Absolutely.
really helping to change lives.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, so I totally feel the same way. I think that's probably the big shift in sales, the big shift in it is that you go from really trying to make a buck to really helping someone. Yeah. What do you think, Joanne?
Well, I know when I started in sales, my grandfather actually called me a huckster. Like Connie often says, it's the sales word is icky. I mean, to him, somebody in sales, because I traveled all over. I mean, I was in 200 cities over, 1,000,000 miles, because back then you did the eyeball to eyeball. And
Yeah.
he used to call me a huckster. So he thought I was, to him, sales was, so it's just
Oh,
interesting.
that's funny.
So
Perspective.
Connie, I see how you have, to overcome that first, because I think a lot of people think of it as, icky, like you used the word, like my grandfather thought, I was a huckster. And it is interesting, but I do believe what both of you said about that you have to believe in it. And because if you do, and you just almost can't wait to wake up the next morning and help more people open their eyes to what their possibilities, like I was saying earlier about the outrageous goals, that they can set those and achieve them. And, of course, you do have to do sales for that. But when you feel like you're doing something to create what I call a win-win-win, and that's basically what you guys were talking about, that, all three parties win. And sometimes there's even more than three, but there's usually at least three.
That's right.
So,
Yeah. Agree.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about if someone's in sales now, right? And they're feeling like, gosh, I just don't feel like I'm getting ahead of the game. Because I know a lot of things have changed, since COVID. We've had a lot of change, a lot of shifts that's happening, a lot of transitions. So if they're feeling like they're really not, in the game, so to speak, how does one, how do we have some steps or something that we can share with our audience to try to help motivate them a little bit, help to kind of jumpstart them, Connie?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Cece. I think here's the issue: we get caught up in our day checking emails. So here's just right out of the gate, my 7-step process. Let me take a step back so you understand where the 7 steps came from. When I started my business 22 years ago, so I had packaged, I got downsized from the organization, which I wanted. I did not want to work for the new company that had bought us out. And so I said, we had 2 babies at home. And I said to my husband, yeah, I don't want to work for this company. They're like the anti-customer service, right? I'm all customer service.
Mhm.
My husband said to me, Rob, as Joanne said before, he said, what do you want to do? I want to get fired and I want to open my own business. So we're married almost 32 years. He totally gets me clearly, right? So 22 years ago. So now I sit down and I think, okay, I had the business name. I did all the filings, right? I'm ready to go. I was like, what do I do now? Like what? How? So I knew I could teach, but what are you teaching? What does that mean? So I really sat there and I reflected for quite some time. And I started writing down, what did I do that made me successful over that 20-year period being in sales, right? All commissions, Cece, like you said before, 100% commission. How did I make a living and always be that number one sales rep? Well, I came up with 6 steps, and I've added. I broke one step into 2, which I'll explain in a minute. So, my 7-step sales process was born 22 years ago. Once I figured out how to achieve this, and then rinse and repeat, duplicate. Right? If I could do it, anybody can do it.
Right.
So, I'm going to give you the 7 steps.
Okay.
Jump in and say, wait, question or whatever, but I'll stop when you give me the hand signal. Okay.
Perfect.
So step number 1 is preparation. And what I see frequently, and most of my clients are corporate clients, but I deal with small business owners as well. It doesn't matter the venue, the organization size. The one mistake I see people do is they jump in and they wing it. They jump into a meeting and they think, yeah, I'm going to ask questions. I'm dazzling. I'm charming. And the person's going to love me. You have to go in prepared. And there's many sub skills when I say preparation. For me, that first step is probably the longest step. And you haven't even met the customer yet. This is all before you're face to face with the customer. Second step is you have to think about building rapport. What is your value statement? Why should this client or clients or board of directors, whoever you're speaking to, why should they work with you? Differentiate yourself from all the other vendors that do exactly what you do. Why should they hire you? Well, you have to build that rapport. But again, back to preparation. You can't walk in and wing your value statement. If you don't think it here, it is never going to come out your mouth when you're in front of the client, which is really when we need to use it. Additionally, that value statement will help you when you're networking and meeting people externally to shine your light without that pushy vibe as well. So again, get mileage out of these steps. Mm-hmm. Third step is the questioning. This is another one. People show up and they start asking questions without any agenda, without any of the pre-work. Well, how do you know what questions to ask? And the other thing I see is most people ask closed-end questions. So the client or the potential client in front of you feels like it's the Inquisition because you're rapid fire all these closed-end questions where we can ask one question and get 10 pieces of information. It's going to become this beautiful conversation versus an Inquisition. So you really need to know what your questions are. And I'll just share with you, 22 years, I have an agenda. I use the same 8 questions over and over and over again. When I'm with the client, my follow-up questions, because you have to be present. I don't know you can't plan the follow-up questions, right? Mm-hmm. So I have my 8 questions, and then based on the answer, I know where to dig in a little deeper with the client. It becomes like a little dance. Mm-hmm. The next step, and this is the one, step 3, I broke into 2 steps. So after step 3, I'm asking these beautiful questions. How do I know what follow-up questions to ask? You have to do active listening. And I never had active listening as a separate step, ladies. But in about 10 years ago, I realized our humans, our attention span is diminishing every day. We're down to about 6 seconds. Here's a scary thought. A goldfish is 7 seconds. So we're in trouble. Humans, we're in trouble because it's very hard. Social media, we're hit with so much intel every day. Our brains can't process it. So we're down to 6 seconds. We need to really, really work on those active listening. Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
Well, it helped me. One time somebody told me God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. We're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak. And I totally agree. And active meaning really tune into what they're saying. Another one that I was taught was just that pretend they have a necklace on that says, make me feel important. And then you are listening. And when you listen, I have had conversations with people that I asked a question. They spoke the next 30 to 40 minutes and they thought it was the best conversation they ever had. And I really think I said 10 words. And most of them were, but that's, like you said, open-ended questions leads to all kinds of stories they tell you without even, realizing they're just giving you all the answers you've been wanting to ask. So go ahead, Connie, but I just thought that would help.
Yeah, and Joe, I learned that 2 ears, 1 mouth 35 years ago when I was selling insurance. And really stuck with me. I'm a visual learner. So the idea of 2 ears, 1 mouth, you could see it, you could feel it, right? You understand it. Well, I've learned with active listening, it's really a 70-30 split. We should be listening 70% of the time and asking questions and providing information about 30%. And that really does shift the table. Stephen Covey's 5th law, habits of highly successful people. Right. His 5th one says, seek to understand before being understood. And I live my life that way. And the only way to do that is to have that question listening kind of dance going. Ask the question, virtual duct tape, go into listening mode, ask those beautiful follow-up questions because you're present and relevant. You're going to really find out what that client needs exponentially by just going into that 70-30 split. So, yeah.
I like the virtual duct tape because I usually try to kind of bite my tongue just to remind myself, be quiet.
Yep. Go into listening mode, right? Put on that virtual duct tape. Just a funny aside. I was training a client and one of the young men was new. It was a bank and new to banking. And so I saw him at a second class because they had a series. I do a series of classes for this one organization. And he sees me the next time and it was a coaching class. And I said, when you ask a question to whoever you're coaching on your team, put the virtual duct tape on. Well, he came to me after class and he goes, I'm really a bad listener. He goes, how can I get better? I really want to. I don't know how. I said, go buy a thing of duct tape. And he goes, okay. I go, put it on your desk, put it where it's right in your line of vision next to your computer. And every time with a client or your colleagues that you're coaching, I said, look at the duct tape and think, Connie's virtual duct tape. Well, do you know, I saw him a few months later. He goes, I can't believe it. It works. I look at the tape. I go, shut your mouth. And it worked for him. So we're visual learners. And if we can visually put something in our line of sight, it's usually a reflection to say, remember, 2 ears, one mouth, stop talking. So it was cute. Really cute.
I love that. When you had mentioned, Connie, the first one being, building rapport, that I think continues on as you continue the steps of listening. Because as you're listening to them, they're telling about themselves, about their wants, about their needs, all of these things. And so you, as you're allowing them to speak, you are connecting with them. So with each word, with each statement they say, if you're nodding, acknowledging, if you're in the game of listening, participating, you're connecting with them continuously. And that will win you over, because they really think that you listen to them. You really care about their needs. You care about what they're looking for. And so that makes a huge difference. We're going to have to take a quick break. When we do, let's talk a little bit about the 5, 6, and 7, which are going to be very interesting in the sales game. So we have Connie Whitman with us. She is CEO of Whitman and Associates. We are so extremely fortunate to have her with us today, everyone. If you are looking to change the sales game for yourself, you most certainly want to connect with Connie, and this is how you do it. You just go to changingthesalesgame.com. That's changing, CHANGING, the sales, SALES, game, GAME.com. Just go right on our website, check it out. A lot of information there, something you don't want to miss out on. But send her a quick message. Let her know you heard her here today, and that, if you got some questions, I'm sure that she's able to help you with that. So, when we're in sales, right? And I think sales is life, really. We're always participating in sales. So if we want to change and embrace our life, try to make things better for us economically, personally, all the way around, we certainly need to understand the game of sales. And so Connie definitely does that. So again, we have Connie Whitman, CEO of Whitman and Associates, LLC. So stick around. We're going to take a quick break. We've got a whole lot of more to talk about on sales. So you guys are listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Schatz. I have my good friend Joanne here with me, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory. And you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact GoingSoloDirectory.com.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Link to Expert Business Showcase with my wonderful friend here, Joanne Weiland, and I am Cece Schatz. I'm the doyenne of relationship building. We are so pleased to have you back here with us. Joanne is the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of the collaboration cloud community called linktoexpert.com. If you have not checked out that community, you most certainly need to do that. Linktoexpert.com. So make sure you do that. Today we're talking with the wonderful Connie Whitman, CEO of Whitman and Associates LLC. Our topic is changing the game of sales. And so it's like changing the sales game. And so we had talked about, she's got 7 tips here for us, 7 items we're talking about. The first one, preparation, rapport, questioning, open-end questions. Follow-up, we want to make sure the only way we can do a follow-up if we do number 4, which is active listening. And so that is what we talked about. You want to know more about that, go to the first half of the show and listen to it, the rebroadcast. We'd love for you to do that because you don't want to miss out on these life-changing skills for you as you're moving forward in life of sales, right? Because we do sales on every element of our lives. We do sales. So thank you, Connie, for coming back here with us on the second half of the show.
Happy to be here.
Let's dig in. Let's dig into number 5.
So number 5, if you've done a really nice job of asking those open-ended questions and then going into that receptive listening mode, right? It becomes super clear what the exact situation of the client or prospective client that's sitting in front of you. And once you fully understand, you should be able to make a recommendation that is spot on what that client needs right here, right now. Forget about the future, about upselling and cross-selling for something they might need a year later. You water down the immediacy of what their needs are right now. So go in, understand, and then you'll be able to make the recommendation. So package the product accordingly, again, that it helps the client right here, right now, as well as setting you up for a planning partner as you go forward. So Cece, you said it before, that value statement, that rapport building, you're doing that. It's not like, okay, I did my value statement, I'm done now. You have to weave it through the questions you ask, that active listening, the compassion, your understanding of what's going on in the client's world. If someone is in need of something that they're ready to buy, if you are truly the solution, this is your opportunity to make that recommendation again. But if you did 1 through 4 improperly, when you ask for the business, what happens is we get objections after that 5th step. Okay. When you get objections, I'm telling you, well, in my world, you should never get an objection, because when you get to this 5th step, the client in front of you, 3 things should happen. 1, the client is literally leaning in, whether on Zoom or live. How fast can we do this? Like, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Like, where have you been my whole life? Second thing that happens, you say to the client, I'm not the right person. And they're like, but I know, but I want you. I understand that. I'm not the right person. I have someone, because we have huge networks, ladies around this room. Bring someone in from your network and introduce them that could do the better job. So you're not taking the business because somebody else could do a better job after you've uncovered that. And what do you think that does? If I refer to Joanne or Cece, I refer something to you because you can do a better job with what that person's looking for. What do you think happens down the road?
Oh, that's true collaboration, because it's that you really do care. Because I feel like people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And it just shows that, you are so honest and open that you are willing to try to not fit that round hole in a square peg, but you're really willing to just give it to somebody else that you know can serve them best. So what does that do? Your reputation just skyrocketed.
Yep. With the client, but also with the person you've referred now, they're going to start looking for opportunities to refer back to you. It's the law of reciprocity, right? We want to support each other. So normally humans, we love supporting each other and helping. But if someone constantly reaches out and refers people to you, you're going to start digging to find people that are a right fit to refer back. So that's how we start generating referrals, both from the clients as well as our peeps, right? Our network.
Exactly.
third thing that happens is you're just not the right fit and you don't know anyone, and you just say to the client, oh, I'm sorry, the third one is you say to the client, you're not ready for me yet. And that's a big one. And that's why I think we get objections, because we're like, well, but I can help you. But if they're working on a website and they have a mom in the hospital and they have, kids, something's going on with the kids, do they really want to work on their sales? No. So I say to them, listen, can I help you? Yes. Do I think we're a good fit? Absolutely. Are you ready for me? No. You have so many other things going on. Can we get those things in place? And then you'll be ready to put the effort and the time that you need to change your sales game, right? That's what we're looking to do. So why am I putting the cart before the horse when you're not going to give it the time you need? And it's funny because people say, no. And I go, trust me. You are not ready for me yet. Let's stay in touch. There's other things. I could talk to your marketing team. Let's make sure that the phraseology and the language is consistent, but you cannot put the effort in. So notice those three alternatives at the end of presenting your idea. There wasn't an objection. So in my world, if you get an objection, you did not do one of those three. It was inappropriate in some way. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You went in with the wrong strategy, or you weren't prepared. You didn't add the value, your value statement. They don't see why you're different than the others. And you didn't ask good questions, and you didn't do the active listening. It's the only way that you're going to get an objection. Okay. Does that make sense before?
Yeah, definitely.
Finn, it's funny because go ahead.
I think what that allows you to do is posturing, right? Is you know your stuff. You've actively listened to them. You understand where they're coming from. So you know whether, number one, whether you can handle whatever they're doing, or your expertise maybe is not there and they need something else.
Sure.
And so you're posturing when you do that. It's that you know yourself, you know what it is that you do, you're aligned with what you do. And so when you're referring someone else, not only are you aligned with what you're doing, you know perfectly well what is best for them. And so now you're redirecting them into another area. They're always going to remember that. And they're going to then come back to you for maybe advice or something else that later on down the road, because they know that, you could have went for it. You could have made that sale, but instead what you did is you aligned yourself. You said, no, I think this person is a better fit for you for what it is at this time they're looking for, because the reality is things change, right? And you might be able to help them down the road with something else. And so they're definitely going to do that. So referring is a great thing. Saying, are you ready? You're not ready for this, or I don't think you're ready for me. Number one, that is going to make them want you even more, when that happens. And the other thing is that maybe you can help, cause a pause, basically, so that they can get ready, and so they can come back to you for what it is. And that you could also, maybe redirect them. Years ago, I sold motorhomes, believe it or not. People can't believe that. Never have driven one in my entire life. I can never drive them. But there were often times where individuals would come in and want to have the big one with all the bells and whistles. And then as we're, going through the finances, we're realizing they really can't afford that. So then, because I was honest doing these various different steps, I could redirect them and say, you know what, I think you can get that probably in a few years' time if you buy something maybe like this. Let's have a look at it to see what you think. But if you got something a little bit like this one here, you could then, have a little equity in it. Then you could trade it in. You could trade up for what you want, down the road. But it's something to maybe think about. Let's do that. And I would take them into the other one, and next thing I know, I'd be selling them that one. So it's like, and again, I was one of the top salespeople. So, you just have to be creative a little bit when you do it, but you have to have the person's best interest at heart. And this is what I'm hearing over and over with every single step, Connie, you're saying, is that it's not about making the big sale. I'm going to make a lot of money and go home and go on a cruise. It's about what is really good for that person. Right. And let me help you on your path of whatever it is that you want to do, if it's recreation or if it's building your business or whatever it might be, whatever they're looking to move forward or make a transition into. That's really what it is. So yeah, I love what you have to say. What did I miss? Number 7?
No, I didn't give number 6 and 7. So, but I do want to share a story, but let me give 6 and 7, and then I'll share a quick story to show how this works in real life. And it's a true story. All my stories are always true, right? That I think they prove that when you live and breathe something, that these stories happen a lot, right? Because you're living and breathing and being the real deal and truly serving. We use that word, but are you serving, right? Are you really customizing the solution for the client? And then the sixth step is asking for the business, which is funny. I put that step in. It's the easiest one. If you've done 1 through 5, and you do those 3, right? This is perfect. The client's ready. You say you're not ready for me, or I need to introduce you to somebody else. When you do ask for the business, it's as simple as, all right, so you want to start next week? That's your asking for the business. It should be no more difficult than that. Don't resell it. Don't ask more. This is just, do you want to do business? And here's the next step. Define what that next step is. What is the call to action? And you're off to the races. And then the 7th step is the follow-up. And this is like the first, the preparation. Follow-up is a big one. We leave too much money on the table. And I don't mean that because you're not pushing or cross-selling big enough. But if you have a problem right here, right now, and I'm trying to upsell you for something you need a year from now, please don't do that. That's disgusting. Sell what you're supposed to sell today. You follow up and you stay in contact with the client. You continue to build the relationship with them so that they love you and they come to you for everything now. Like, what do you think I should do? Who do you know? Because now they know you have a network, right? Who do you know that can help me with? And meanwhile, you're talking to them saying, don't forget, next year when XYZ happens, we're going to turn around. Now we're going to start working with your team. Don't forget, right? So we're having those conversations to keep them in the loop, that we are still cross-selling them over time, but it's done appropriately instead of just pushing it down their throat to make that money right now. And what the funny thing is, when you do that, you make exponentially more money because they're ready for that next piece. And usually then you can customize whatever the package is for now what they're building, right? Because it's a year later, they've evolved. They probably need something even bigger than what you anticipated a year prior. So pace yourself. I call it playing the long game. Don't do it. Don't be transactional. I got to make the sale. I got to make the money today. Right. Trust me, the money comes more when you do it the right way. And any questions with that? And then I'll share the story that shows all of the 7 steps in action.
No, I mean, I think you're spot on. And I would also say is that when you have that mindset, right, as you're moving forward in sales, what happens is not only are you making them happy, right? They're content, they're happy with what is progressing within their lives, but they're going to refer you. And I used to get, like, when I was doing the motorhomes, I mean, I got so many referrals. It was ridiculous. It was like, I didn't have time for them sometimes, but I was so happy. But you just want people to, and you want people to feel that way. You want them to like you and want to refer. So that's what you want to do. So you want to share your story? Yeah.
So I was probably in business maybe 4 or 5 years, and I live off referrals. Just what you were saying. So I don't make cold calls. I don't believe in cold calls personally. If you do and it works for you, God bless you. I'm not saying don't do it. Okay. But I don't. And so I was referred to the CEO to a bank in the eastern seaboard in New Hampshire. And so I'm meeting with the CEO, a very, very tiny bank. And I was trying to help him out. And after a couple of conversations, I said, I loved him too. He was a young CEO, really, really a visionary, and really wanted to make something of this de novo bank, this new bank. So I said to him, you can't afford me. But here's the thing. This is what we can do. And I went through, he had hired a young man for marketing, and he was just a real smart kid. And I said, I think I can work with him, hire me as a consultant, not to come up and do the training myself. And I could coach him so that with your 2 managers, he'll make the inroads slower, but you'll make the inroads at a fraction of what it would cost you to bring me in. But again, I could play the long game with him, and now we're grooming him into whatever that next position is. CEO was like, I really want you. I really want you. I said, listen, please trust me. Can we try it? If it doesn't work, then yes, that'll be our backup plan, and I'll come up, right? Well, of course it worked at a fraction of what he was going to pay me. So because again, it was a very small bank. It was maybe a $20,000 gig. Listen, that was a lot of money. It is a lot of money, but I did I walked away. I made a few grand to help coaching this kid. Well, fast forward, the CEO loved me because we moved the needle. We groomed this kid. Now this kid was ecstatic. We're building loyalty within the organization. He worked so hard because, we were developing his personal skill. The CEO referred me to 3 other CEOs, and that was a multi-6-figure contract from each of them. So you see what I'm saying? It works. And now, did I do what I'm going to do? I'm not going to sell to him. I'm going to just do so I make some money, but he'll give me referral. I didn't know he was going to give me referrals. That wasn't my intent. My intent was to help and truly just love, care, and respect. And then he rewarded me over that next 1 to 2 years with these multi-6-figure contracts. It works, but it's love, care, and respect, right? I was very respectful of himself, his organization, and his budget, right? And I won on the back end just because I did the right thing. You have to do the right thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. So real quick, because we only got just a couple more minutes, share with us the name of your book. Is it not called The Changing the Sales Game? Or
no, the name of the book is ESP, because we do have to have ESP with our clients, but mine is The Easy Sales Process, and it's 7 steps to sales success.
Okay, wonderful. So great. So we're going to have you on our Author's Corner. We're going to talk about that. So those of you that are listening to the show, make sure you look for that. The Link to Expert Easy Reads, it's called. And so we want to make sure that you guys go and listen to that. But we want to thank you so much, Connie.
Thank you for having me.
It's great.
She has a free gift too, Cece.
Oh, okay. I didn't. Oh, sorry. I wasn't aware.
Okay. I just remembered it. It's actually the free gift is the communication style assessment, which I've taken. Is amazing. So,
okay, so if you guys want to get that, we've got a free gift for you. It's you just go to changingthesalesgame.com, which is Connie's website, changingthesalesgame.com. That's CHANGING, the THE sales, plural, SALES, game.com. And so you can find it on there. Tell them a little bit more, Joanne, about the free gift.
Or Connie, go ahead, because I know it's an assessment. But.
Yeah, I could do it very quickly. You'll get 2 reports after taking. The assessment takes about 5 to 8 minutes. Be thoughtful in your answers. You'll get 2 reports. One, it spotlights your natural superpowers from communication, how your message is received. Flip side, you have a lowest score. You'll get a report with that, which shines a light on probably a blind spot in your communication, so that it will help you navigate those that communicate differently than you.
Oh, wow. I'm going to take that because I know some of my weaknesses already, but yeah, we all have them. But yeah,
all works in progress, girls.
That's right. Yep. And it's all about transition. Yeah.
You said it.
I agree. Well, Joanne, anything else you'd like to add?
No, thank you, Connie, for being here. We really appreciate it. I hope everybody took notes. And if not, you can get, like we're going to talk about in another show, her books, but you definitely go on her website. It's just amazing how she just is so encouraging right from the beginning of the website to really, again, be all you're designed to be is what I call it. But she, be outrageous. It really is encouraging. And I feel like when you work with people like that, you really do grow together. So thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Absolutely. Thank you. We truly appreciate you. Well, everyone, we've come to the close of our show. We hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed being here with you. Again, this is Link to Experts. Oop, I put on the wrong banner. We've got so much going on. I'm sorry about this. This is Link to Expert Business Showcase. We are on the showcase, and we're trying to fool you. I am Cece Schatz, the Joanne of Relationship Building. I have my wonderful good friend here, Joanne, with me. Joanne Weiland is the Chief Chief Connections Officer. It's early for us here, so you guys, I hope that you whenever you're listening to this, just help us out. So it's Chief Connections Officer, the founder of Collaboration Cloud Community. If you have not checked out this community, you've got to do it. It's called link2expert.com. It's link LANK2TO expert EXPERT.com. If you are an expert in your field, you have got to join this community, because I tell you what, it's like no other. I'm in it and I love it. So much that you can use and grow and really help build your business. So it's something that you definitely want to do. We had a terrific guest with us today. Our topic was changing the sales game with Connie Whitman, CEO of Whitman and Associates. You definitely want to check out her website. She's got a free gift there, a free assessment, which I'm going to run to as soon as I pop off here. I'm going to go and take it myself. But go to her website, Changing the Sales Game. That's changing, CHANGING, the THE sales, SALES game, GAME. And that's exactly what you want to do. Change your sales game. You want to keep abreast of what's happening. Make sure you're fresh as you're going out there. And we had 7 steps, which I'm not going to tell you. So if you haven't watched the show, you better go back and listen to it, because it's something you want to listen to time and time again. So thank you so much, everyone, for being with us here today. Okay, bye for now, guys.